All right, everybody. So we're going to start a new series here called Insurance is a Scam. Or is it? I'm going to have Yana ask me questions behind the scenes, and I'll answer those questions for you guys. If you have questions, drop them in a comment or DM them, and we can add them to the next week's series.
First question. Why do I pay for insurance if I never use it?
Seriously, this was one of my favorites. That's like saying, why do I go to the gym if I never get any muscles? Like, the reality is, insurance is about being available when you need it. You're paying for the insurance with the hopes that you don't actually have to use it. Let's talk about how insurance works. So everybody's paying into that insurance pool. And then when something happens to one person, that money's paid out to actually cover that expense. Now, the reality is, if all of us went outside and had a wreck that cost $50,000 at one time, none of us would be able to pay for it. Let's be honest. I don't have $50,000 to pull out of my bank account to be able to cover that accident. Do you have that $50,000 to cover your accident? That's what insurance is for. It's to be able to cover those things that may happen just in case.
But isn't insurance just paying for something you might never use?
Hopefully you never actually have to use it. That's the reality of it. I want to have that insurance there as a safeguard just in case. You think about it like this. If you go have a surgery and that surgery costs $50,000, and then you have to go to rehab after surgery, and the total cost of that rehab is another $20,000, but you're not able to go to work, the health insurance is kicking in and covering the majority, if not all, of that expense for you, depending on what kind of coverage you have. So nobody wants to actually go through the process of needing to have an extensive surgery and having to go through rehab. But in the event that you do, insurance is there to be able to help offset that cost and make sure that it doesn't break you.
If I don't file claims, why does my premium still increase?
If you don't file claims personally, right? So we talked about this earlier. Insurance is a collective group. We're all pulling our money in together. And the reality is, the insurance company isn't a nonprofit. They have to pay the salaries of all the people that you call in and talk to, that help manage those payments and all of those things. So there has to be some profit in there to actually be able to pay for those services, to make sure that whenever you actually use your insurance, somebody's going to be able to be there to pay the bills. When you don't have any claims, you're paying into the insurance pool. The insurance companies at that point plan out those claims. Now, in the event that we have significant claims over and above what the insurance companies expected, then they have to be able to increase those premiums to make sure that they can, one, recover the extra money that they spent, so they can make sure that it's available to pay for your claim the next time you actually need it. But two, make sure that they can prepare for if the same situation happens where those increased claims come back, and there's money to be able to cover those increases again the following year.
Wouldn't it make sense for me to just save what I pay in premiums?
I mean, if you could save $100,000 overnight, then more power to you. But the reality is, wouldn't you rather have that $100,000 and put it to work for you? I would much rather have my money working for me and increasing my worth for my family, as opposed to spending it on expenses that may or may not happen. Because if I got $100,000 and it's put aside for insurance, then it needs to be sitting there. It doesn't need to be gaining money or anything of that nature. It needs to be prepared and ready to use at any time. So insurance allows you to be able to spread that risk to other people, that if something happens to them, if something happens to you, you can truly be covered, but you can take your capital and actually go maximize it and make money with it.
Can we talk about life insurance?
Sure. Let's talk about it.
What's the point of life insurance if I won't be around to use it?
First of all, let's talk about what life insurance is. Everybody's going to die. Every single one of us, we know we're going to die. How do you prepare for that? Life insurance is making sure that when your family is mourning, when they're crying, when they're at their lowest points because they don't have you around anymore, they at least don't have to figure out how they're going to be able to bury you. right? That's the general consensus of what life insurance is. But it's expanded to be able to be so much more than that. Life insurance now can actually be a leverage towards financial independence for your kids, kids, and the kids after that, to be quite honest, if you leverage it right. So if I go get a $500,000 life insurance policy on myself, when I die, I can leave each of my kids $250,000 that they could use to, cover their student loans. Because I, as a dad, want to make sure that they can get college paid for, that they could use to actually start a business, that they could use to start their real estate investing career. There's so many things that my family can do to be able to expand wealth beyond just the death benefit of what's going to happen with my kids whenever I die. And on top of that, you get living benefits with most life insurance policies as well. If I have a stroke, or if I have a heart attack, or if I develop cancer, it's very likely that you can develop any of those things. Then life insurance can kick in with those living benefits, allow me to be able to access a big portion of that money immediately and be able to focus on recovery as opposed to trying to focus on hurrying up to get back to work so I can continue to make money and live in this rat race.
Got a couple more questions for you.
All right, let's go.
I was thinking back to what you'd mentioned about the life insurance company and the premiums, but to me, it feels like the insurance company makes money no matter what.
The insurance company does math. Like, they do math, and they do math really good. But if we think about it, all of us could do the same thing. So what the insurance company does is they pull that money together. They take a portion of that money and they invest it. And a portion of that money is sitting aside waiting for something to happen, because as we already talked about, something's going to happen. It's just a matter of if it happens to you, if it happens to me, or if it happens to the brother over there. Something's going to happen, and some of that money is going to have to be spent out. In the meantime, the rest of that money is invested in the market. The rest of that money is invested in real estate. The rest of that money is invested in all kinds of other assets that's going to allow it to grow. Insurance companies are going to make their money on that difference in the growth. They're going to be able to pay their salaries. They're going to be able to make sure that they can return a portion of that money back to you, depending on the type of policies that you have. Heck, part of the money could actually come to you in the form of interest gains on certain types of policies. So yes, the insurance company is going to make money no matter what, but every business that is a for-profit business is in the business to make money. It's not a charity.
Okay, say I'm thinking about insurance.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best insurance to have? And if I can only afford one type of insurance, what should it be?
So if you thinking about what type of insurance, what are you talking about? Are you talking about life insurance, auto insurance, health insurance? Because the reality is it's all needed, every single one of them. So you think auto insurance. Why is auto insurance required? Auto insurance is required because if you're driving down 635, every mile and a half, you're going to see a wreck, right? Somebody's going to hit somebody. Most of us, as we already talked about, don't have the savings to be able to cover that expense if somebody else hit us. So just imagine you're driving down 635 and somebody hits your car. You want to make sure that they have auto insurance on their car to cover your expenses. You don't want to have to pay for that out of your pocket. And you don't want to have to trust that they saved enough money to pay for it out of theirs. So that's why you need to have auto insurance. Why do you need to have homeowners insurance? Why do you need to have renters insurance? Because stuff happens. Let's look back to, what was that, 2021, 2022, when we had that big freeze here. We had the big freeze, and how many people had homeowners insurance or that didn't have the renters insurance? Let's even talk about the renters insurance. I was talking to one of my old coworkers at that time that lived in an apartment over by the Galleria, and she had the pipes on the upstairs actually freeze over and burst in their apartment because somebody else didn't drip their faucets. Pipes burst, water runs down through the floor, dumps all over her floor, destroys her apartment, destroys her furniture, destroys her clothes. She didn't have renter's insurance. None of that is covered and replaceable. Now, she can try to go through and see if she can get that from the apartments, but every apartment complex during that time is telling everybody to make sure that you're dripping your water. So now their apartment is going to go back and try to get that from the person upstairs. But the chances are that person don't have the money to be able to cover it, and they didn't have the insurance as well. So that puts us in a situation where not having insurance it's just waiting for destruction to happen. I can't say what kind of insurance is the best kind of insurance to have. Now, obviously, there is a such thing as being overinsured. Nobody wants to be spending all of their money on insurance, but having a base core level of insurance to protect all of the different causes, it's not a bad idea to be prepared.
So what you're saying is the worst insurance is the one you don't have when you need it.
That is the worst kind of insurance, the insurance that you don't have the moment you need it. It's all a scam until it's you. So insurance is a scam. Or is it?